Welcome to Superhero Reviews. Today we're going to take a look at the episode 2 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the latest installment from Marvel and Disney Plus that in this case shows Anthony Mackie as the Falcon and Sebastian Stan as the Winter Soldier. So in the last episode we were first introduced to the new Captain America, character named John Walker, played by Wyatt Russell, who of course is the son of Kurt Russell, who played Ego, the living planet, a bad guy in the second Guardians of the Galaxy movie. But here we see the real introduction of John Walker in the to the public, and we see him being interviewed on Good Morning America, which is of course a product placement for ABC, which is owned by Disney, which owns Marvel. Funny how it all works out. And watching this gave me the impression, very strong impression, that this is very similar to how Captain America was introduced in the Captain America First Avenger movie as a publicity stunt. So this Captain America, though, as we find out from his resume as a highly decorated war veteran, he is supposed to be the real deal. So Bucky and Sam definitely do not like the idea of this new Captain America, and that's quite obvious. We see him in action. He clearly does not have the super soldier serum running through his veins in a battle with the Flag Smashers, which is actually a pretty good battle sequence. We see our good guys getting defeated by 8 super soldier type people who are definitely not in the Avengers side of things, as it were. So we end up with a mystery here as Falcon and Winter Soldier, Sam and Bucky, try to figure out what's going on here. So they have an interesting relationship in this episode. And if you recall back to their previous interactions, they in the movies, they definitely had a situation where they're bickering with each other. And this continues, which actually adds quite a bit of character to both of them and is, frankly, one of my favorite parts of the show. So as we continue on here, they, trying to figure out what's going on. They share a dislike of John Walker. And I must say that the character of John Walker in the comics, frankly, always struck me as being kind of a jerk. Self-centered, arrogant, definitely not a Steve Rogers type of personality. And the way the character is being played here, he comes off as being very sincere in what he wants to do, but his personality is kind of a jerk. He reminds me a lot of the Guy Gardner, one of the Green Lanterns over in DC, who's also generally considered kind of a jerk. He's a hero, but he's a jerk, which you can be, a little jerky if you are and still be a hero. So we see some good fight sequences in this episode. But for me, the highlight here is really the interaction between Sam and Bucky. They're both aspiring to follow the legacy of Steve Rogers in different ways, but also very, very similar. And they are united in their dislike of John Walker and, of course, their desire to figure out what's going on with the Flag Smashers. So I'm purposely avoiding significant spoilers here. We'll talk about some new other characters later in this review, in which case I will say, hey, we're getting into spoiler territory at that point. But again, the interactions between these two guys are pretty good. We also see backstory, a little bit of backstory with the quote terrorist group, the Flag Smashers that they are chasing after. Again, this is all resulting from quote the blip and the societal changes that have occurred because of that. We see some really good humor here too, and quite a bit of frankly racial commentary. The scene here you're looking at shows Sam talking to a young kid as they're going to talk to someone. And the kid says, hey, it's Black Falcon. And he said, no, dude, it's just Falcon. And he said, well, my dad calls you Black Falcon. Dude, because I'm black and I'm a Falcon? Yeah. So they end up meeting with an African American older gentleman who has a secret, which I'll talk about here in a minute when we get into the spoiler area. But this is a very significant turn, has a major connection to the comic books, which of course the original code of the, if you look at the coding of the show. All right, so now we go to the comic book file. We'll look at the comics behind the characters. Now we get into the spoilerific pieces here. So the gentleman you saw there is Isaiah Bradley. And Isaiah Bradley is the recipient of the super soldier serum in an experiment, of course, in the comic books, that goes back to the time after Steve Rogers became Captain America. And the government is attempting to recreate the super soldier formula. So in the comics, back in 2003, they purposely created an allegory with the Tuskegee syphilis experiments, in which African American men were illegally experimented on. And in this case, we end up with a super soldier who's African American, who is in the comic books, he does not follow what they want him to do, but that gets him into trouble. His backstory in this show here is a bit different, but very similar. We also see a young man, Elijah, his grandson, who in the comic books is also a superhero called the Patriot, and he appears in Young Avengers #1 as a member of the Young Avengers, which also includes, I might add, several other characters who we have already met or will soon meet in these Marvel shows. That would include Cassie Lang, the daughter of Ant-Man Scott Lang, we've seen in the movies, and the Kate Bishop, who we will be soon meeting in the upcoming Hawkeye show. They along with Eli Bradley, are 3 of the Young Avengers. I think Marvel is setting us up for a very good, potentially very good movie and or Disney Plus show featuring those young characters as the Young Avengers, or perhaps one of the other youthful teams that they have going. So another, going back, another piece that was very enjoyable in this episode, the interaction between Sam and Bucky when they are basically ordered by Bucky's counselor to have a session. And it's like they're an old married couple. She actually uses marriage therapy tactics with them, or strategies. And it's hilarious. And it really gets to the I think the hint of a relationship here between these guys of, love-hate. And of course, we can predict, being a comic book show, they're going to end up bonding more through their travails here, and we'll go from there. But the highlight is definitely the, in terms of character development, that interaction with the therapist. Going back a minute to the comments about racial politics, there's a scene, again, I'm saving this for the part that's after the spoiler warning. There's a scene as they're leaving Isaiah Bradley's home in Baltimore, where the police roll up on an arguing Sam and Bucky, and the police officer basically asks Bucky, "Is this man bothering you, sir?" It's a white officer, and Sam is getting very aggravated because he sees this for what it is. And then when the other officer says to the first one, "Hey, these guys are Avengers," and he says, "Oh, Mr. Wilson, I didn't realize it was you." Well, that just ticks off Sam even more. They mention other comments in the first episode related to race. And so I think that's definitely going to be a theme going forward throughout the entire show, especially as we delve more into probably Isaiah Bradley's background, where in the comics, the Isaiah Bradley, the quote Black Captain America, faced significant discrimination because of his race. All right, so that is our superhero review of Falcon and Winter Soldier, episode number 2, which is titled The Star-Spangled Man. We look forward to the rest of this series, and we hope you join us in watching it and in following along as we review each episode going forward. So thank you very much. Take care, and please be sure and subscribe to our channel and also comment below. Take care. Thank you. And we'll see you in the funny papers.